Be me, Alex, youngish adult living in a tiny apartment with broken radiator and too many succulents. Work, junior product designer, spends too much time on Figma and thinking in rectangles. Married to Mia. Mia is chaotic, soft, brilliant, and works at a nonprofit that does sexual health outreach. We met on a volunteer shift handing out condoms in a park. Fell for each other over plastic spoons and bad thermos coffee. We're young, kind of experimental, mostly in love, and kind of bad at boundaries. We talk about stuff like swinging, threesomes, open relationship, like people talk about brunch spots. Last year, over 2 bottles of cheap wine, we read a bunch of articles and did a spreadsheet. Pros/cons column for try and experience with others. Both agreed on rules. Honesty, safe words, protection, emotional check-ins, and boundaries on sneaky behavior. I was nervous but curious. Mia was curious and somehow 10% braver than me. Fast forward. We agree to try a soft experiment. The plan. She gets to meet someone for a one-off hookup if she wants. I get full access to her texts, we use protection, no secrecy about logistics, and we debrief the next day with pizza and actual feelings. I say yes because I trust her and because the spreadsheet looked like adulting. I thought I could handle it. I thought the spreadsheet would protect me from my own brain. We set rules again. Friday night ritual. Text me plans. I can call before if I want. Any video/audio must be shared only if both agree. Box checked for consent both ways. Mia nods, buys an extra rapid test from CVS the day before, picks condoms I approve of, I have opinions, and asks me to pick up PETA before she leaves so we have something harmless as a landing space. I was calm, brave, spreadsheet man. Then Thursday happens. Mia comes home late from work. Smells like someone else's jacket and a bar I do not recognize. I ask, how was your night? She says, fine. I nod, I make pita, I watch TV with the volume too loud to think. She had told me earlier she might do it sooner than planned if the opportunity came up. I thought that meant next week. Apparently opportunity is on Mia's timeline, not mine. She texts me around midnight. It happened. I feel like a bell in an empty church rung the wrong way. My brain says, breathe. My mouth says, oh, like a slow deflating balloon. I ask for details per the rules. She answers with, it was quick. It was safe. I told him about us. He was respectful. I ask for the other's name. Dylan. I picture a bar Dylan. A grin. A shoulder shrug. Neutral. Fine. Whatever. Spreadsheet rules. Right? Then she does something I never expected. She sends a short video. Not of the act. Not explicit content. I told her rules. She followed them. It's the aftermath. The sheets, a towel, a slow pan of a hotel room bathroom sink, condensation on a mirror, a pair of shoes half under the bed, and then the camera focuses on something I'm not proud to say I look at. A little stain on the sheet, close up. It's the after visual. The one thing the spreadsheet did not have a checkbox for because we had never imagined the specific cruelness of seeing it on your phone at 12:24 a.m. while the radiator clicks in the background. She sends the video with a short text. I wanted you to see it. Didn't want to keep secrets. I appreciate the honesty like I appreciate getting kicked in the chest politely. I opened the video, and now I have an image glued to the back of my skull like a cheap sticker you can't peel off. Instant reaction. Nausea. Second reaction. Furious because she sent it instead of calling first like the rule said. Third reaction. Grateful that at least she wasn't hiding it and followed some honesty rule. My emotional software is exploding because the rules both protected me and failed me in the worst possible micro way. Call her. She doesn't pick up. Text. Call me when you can. She replies with ... and an I'm on my way home. I sit on the couch and stare at the pita box like it owes me answers. I replay the video in my head in a loop until it loses shape and becomes a bad wallpaper. She walks in 2 hours later smelling like street and peppermint gum. I'm sitting like a person in a low-budget rom-com who will not laugh at the right moments anymore. She drops her bag, makes coffee like nothing's wrong, watches me with guarded face. You saw? She asks softly. I did. I say, and I'm quieter than I want to be because the image is heavy in my throat. She sits down, starts the "we agreed to be honest" speech. She says, "I'm sorry I sent it without calling, but I thought you'd rather see than be lied to." Her eyes are full of apology and also an exhausted defensiveness. Like she's doing a job and it's hard emotional labor. "I wanted you to know I didn't hide it," she says. "I wanted to make sure you had the facts." Facts. The coldest word in the room. I try to be an adult and follow the plan. "Tell me what happened," I say. She breathes in, breathes out, and tells me with a calm that would be impressive if it didn't sting. It was at a bar. After a lecture she gave, they talked, they kissed, it escalated, they went to a cheap hotel 3 blocks away, it lasted 15 minutes, protection used, both rapid tested, nothing emotional. She had told him about us. She said she's sorry I had to see it like this. She says she loved me. She says the spreadsheet promised honesty and she's honoring it. I sit counting syllables like they're coins I don't have. The thing I agreed to intellectually is a different animal when it shows up with a sound file and a stain and the texture of another human's night on your bedside. My brain does the math while my lungs forget how to inhale. I feel disenfranchised from my own reaction. My inner voice is like, "You agreed to this. Be the spreadsheet man." My body says, "You are physically recoiling. What is happening? Why does human biology lie to me?" We try to debrief immediately because that's what people who did a checklist do. "How are you feeling?" she asks like good therapist training. I lie with fine and call it a strong fine, because I have a diploma in denial and a minor in avoidance. She gets frustrated. "Alex, why are you shutting down? We said we'd talk." I snap back because I have a voice that folds under pressure. I said seeing it in a text at midnight wasn't the way we agreed. She gets defensive. "You wanted honesty. You got it." Argument starts to spiral. Words like disgusted come out of my mouth and then back in like a bad card trick. She says, "I wanted you to know, not to hurt you." I say you did both and my voice is thin. I feel childish because I want the comfort of a decisive outcome. Either be angry and leave, or accept and breathe and high-five our bravery for being honest adults. Instead I'm stuck in the worst place. Compromised, dizzy, and weirdly ashamed for being human. Mia, bless her, tries to fix it the spreadsheet way. "We'll have a debrief tonight at 9. We'll list emotions and rank them on a scale of 0 to 10, then pizza." I love her for the structure and hate her for it in the same exhale. The day goes like that. I do my job with autopilot, pixels and boxes and Slack messages about feature toggles. My mouth moves and my brain is stuck collecting that image like it's rare foreign currency. I watch other men on the bus and think about how they touched her and it's irrational and awful and I feel guilty for feeling it. That night at 9 I do the ritual. We sit on the couch with our cheap pizza and a notebook. Mia puts the notebook between us like it's a ballot box for our feelings. "Okay, you go first," she says politely, like we're adults doing the emotional census. I write down disgusted, jealous, sad, confused, also oddly proud of your honesty, and show it like a sad school project. She nods, does her own list, relieved, guilty, excited at novelty, also love Alex. We talk about boundaries and aftercare and both say things adults say in therapy. But when I say, I can't unsee the visual, her face changes in a very small way that lands like a weight on me. "I'm sorry," she says. "I didn't expect you to be haunted by it." I want to scream. I want to thank her for not hiding. I want to ask for a rewind. I want to tell her the moral calculus of consent is not linear. I want to run. I want to cling. I want a spreadsheet that handles trauma. She reaches for my hand and I flinch because the memory is fresh and the contact is now an index of ambiguity. She says, "Do you want me to delete the video?" I say yes without thinking because I think deletion is a magic eraser for the brain. She deletes it and empties the trash folder like an amateur magician. We both feel lighter for 30 seconds. Then the image stays anyway because the brain stores things differently than file systems. Week goes on. We try to do the agreed micro steps. Check-ins? Did you want to talk? Cuddle time? No secrets list? And also me trying not to stare at her like she's a museum exhibit with a plaque that says, "This once belonged to someone else." At a friend's party later that week, I see her smile at someone across the room and a ridiculous, shameful thought hits me. What if that smile was the same one she gave to him? Immediately guilty because we agreed to autonomy, and also gross because I feel like an animal. One night, I wake up sweating at 3 a.m., replaying the visual so many times my mind makes art of it. I go to the kitchen, open the cupboard, stare at the spice jars like they are going to tell me how to process heartbreak. I make a bag of chips and eat them like someone putting out a small kitchen fire with salt. Mia sleeps through it or pretends to, and I'm both grateful and furious. Fast forward a few weeks because I need us to progress or implode for the story to matter. We try to keep living. Rent is due, my boss wants user flows, the city is loud, plants need water. But the thing is always simmering under the surface like a pot that forgot to boil over and makes a weird smell. We go to a couples workshop about boundaries because Mia insists we get professional help, and also because I secretly want a vocabulary for everything that feels wordless and dirty and heavy. Therapist is a 30-something named Jamal who looks like he could bench press his trauma and gives good worksheets. In session, Jamal asks the question I avoided for weeks. Do you feel your consent was respected throughout? I hesitate. I want to say yes because we set rules and she followed several of them. But I also want to say no because a video arrived at midnight and my mental inbox exploded without my permission. I say both yes and no like a coward and a real adult at once. Jamal nods and writes it on a flip chart like documentation for the apocalypse. Consent is ongoing, he says. Consent to a concept and consent to an event are different. I feel validated and dumb at the same time. Validated because someone validated that nuance, and dumb because I thought a spreadsheet could solve emotional geometry. Time goes on. We get better at check-ins and worse at ignoring my flashbacks. Mia is tender sometimes in ways that feel like stitches, and other times she is bright and bubbly, and the old Alex ignoring me appears and I think, there she is, the one I love, and then a cloud of otherness settles down again. Then a twist because story needs synapses firing. Mia tells me she's invited Dylan over one night to talk. Not to sleep. Not to hook up. Just to clear the air because she feels guilty and wants to be transparent in person. I feel like I'm in a movie where I'm background furniture while the plot walks past in slow motion. She insists, says it's important for her integrity, and also that Dylan has been respectful and they actually had a conversation after. But she wants to close it face to face. I say yes and mean it and don't mean it. Because we had spreadsheets, remember? And now we have human feelings outside the boxes. Dylan arrives at 8 p.m. Tall, decent haircut, nervous smile. I shake his hand like a man welcoming a cat into his apartment for the first time and wondering if the cat will purr or hiss in my face. The three of us sit in the living room. We make small talk. Dylan apologizes like he's practiced it in his head. He says he respects our rules, he didn't know me, he's sorry I had to see the video the way I did. He says the hookup was a one-time thing and he has no intention of complicating the space further. I listen and my stomach is a washing machine on spin cycle. I'm also watching Mia watching him. She seems calmer seeing him in person, like the idea had more edges in real life and now it's less hungry because it's a human with hands and a tie and a hoodie. They talk for an hour about the logistics and the future boundaries, and honestly less about sex and more about closing tabs, and I realize the adult thing is extremely boring and somehow a relief. After Dylan leaves, we're left on the couch in the emptiness that follows closure talk. Mia is quiet for a long time, then she says, I thought the transparency would make you feel safer. I thought being honest would be a kindness. I didn't think honesty could wound like this. I look at her, and I want to say something big like, you hurt me, or I forgive you, or leave, or stay. But my mouth is all knotted feelings and garnished with stubbornness. Instead I manage, small and cliché but true, I don't know yet. That answer is both a cliff and a hearth. She nods, not surprised, because she knows me and the spreadsheet and my cowardice and my capacity for stubborn love. Weeks blur. Some nights are warm and domestic and the scent of lavender makes me think maybe we can repair it. Other nights I wake up to a memory and it's a new kind of terror. Like I can't trust my head to keep out images I never agreed to catalog. I start therapy alone because the couple sessions are not enough to clean my head's attic. My therapist is an earnest woman named Claire who asks, how are the intrusive images? And I'm embarrassed because I thought intrusive images were for news articles, not my own life. She teaches grounding techniques that feel like trying to plug a leaking dam with post-it notes, but they help sometimes. Mia notices I'm distant and does the brave thing. Asks for time but not distance. Check-ins but not pressure. I appreciate it and pyrotechnically resent the appreciation like a human with two conflicting hearts. One night, real dramatic shift. She wakes me up at 2 a.m. with soft fingers and says, "I want to try something." My immediate response is defensive because try is a verb that killed the spreadsheet once. She explains. She wants to take accountability in a visible way. Small acts she hopes are meaningful. Journaling together for a week. No solo meetups for a month. Couples yoga. I flinch. And a rule. No surprise evidence sharing via text at midnight. I laugh because rules are my jam and also cry because rules as band-aids are both good and terrible. We commit to it because commits are cheaper than dissolves and we still have a lease and we like each other's weird jokes. Then life does what life does. My job needs late nights, our plant dies, the neighbor plays drums, we forget anniversaries and then make jokes about them and that's how it goes until someone says the wrong thing. Months pass. Sometimes the weight is manageable. Sometimes it returns heavy as a domestic engine humming and the image grows teeth again. I learned that trauma from consensual experiments is an odd shape. We made a contract, but our bodies kept adding clauses. Some nights I want to burn the scale and some nights I want to hold her hand and every day I oscillate like a cheap fan in an apartment with windows that don't close. The story doesn't end with a kitchen table signing or a rescue montage. It wanders through small acts and a million tiny negotiations. We have good days with laughing and bad days of silence. We go back to therapy. We set new boundaries. We lose trust in some ways and build it in tiny increments in others. But here's the messy truth I didn't expect and can't quite spit out without sounding like a dumb rom-com narrator. Honesty did not fix everything. Honesty built a raw, helpful bridge and also made a new path for certain images to cross without permission. The video she sent woke up parts of me I thought were asleep and I resent it and also need it because it forced a conversation we might not otherwise have had. I still have nights where the image sneaks through and I place my phone face down and watch the ceiling like a bad sculpture. I still have nights where I wake up, she's beside me, and I feel a small gratefulness that the warm shape next to me is hers and not an idea on a screen. We keep going because leaving feels like erasing our history and staying feels like slow repair. There is no final answer except that the image is there, the feelings are alive, and we are fumbling with tools that may or may not be enough. So the end of this chapter is not neat. It's me at 2 a.m. in sweatpants, breathing. Trying to remember that consent was given and rules were made, and also that being human means sometimes we get surprised by the wrong things at the wrong time. Trying to hold both love and disgust in my hands at once without dropping either. Trying to live a life where the next surprise is planned and agreed on, not sent like a midnight memo that rewires your head. That's where I am now. Not healed. Not broken in a way that can't be fixed. Just living with the new scar and wondering what I'll do when it itches again.